Is breeding still profitable? Well, the short answer is yes, but it honestly depends on what you're breeding and how much you're breeding. Throughout this video, I'm going to be showcasing my favorite strategy for breeding in this bear market of crypto that we're experiencing, as well as include some valuable info that I wish I knew before I started breeding on Axie Infinity. So I guess we'll just start off the video here by giving my first tip, and that is going to be actually to download a plugin that will be able to show you the traits on any Axie, and that is going to be Freaks Axie extension. All you need to do is just type that into Google here. Again, I'm not affiliated with them, but you're just going to go ahead and download it onto Google. This will pop it up, so that way you're able to see how many breeds the Axie has had, as well as its traits and its DNA. So if you guys have taken biology class in high school or anywhere, you kind of know Punnett squares and how genes are supposed to lay out. So we're just going to go ahead and select two different random Axies. So I've selected this one, and now I'm just going to go ahead and select this one out of it. And we're going to go ahead and breed it, which this is another tool that is very useful. It's Axie.zone. It's a breeding simulator. Again, I'll have both of these in the description below. But it allows you to breed Axies as many times just to try it out and see what they will come up as. Again, I just picked out two random Axies here, but you can see that every time it breeds, it's going to have a pretty good mutation rate. That's what these are. Again, those Punnett squares. There's odds for each DNA that is listed above here. Again, there's the dominant traits, there's the recessive 1 and recessive 2, which they all have percentages on the likelihood they are to be selected. I know R2 is about 3%. I believe R1 is 17 or 14%, and the dominant one is over 70% for sure. But again, those numbers vary, so again, look those up before you go into this. Anyways, the next website that we're going to be using is Axie.tech. This is another great tool, again, when you're looking to breed. You want to know the cost of the breeding that you're going to do for the Axies. So that way you know if it's going to be profitable if you're selling these Axies on the market. So we're going to go into a sheet here in a moment, but I'm going to go into how to find the perfect Axie for the breeding. So the last real page that you should need is this Axie.tech. It is a breeding cost simulator for you, as you will. This will show you the prices that it costs to breed per level of the Axie. So if you have virgin Axies, it's only going to cost you $69. Ha 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 ha. 2, it's going to cost you $85. 3, it's going to cost you $118. So this is just really good to know. So that way, if you're selling an Axie and you can see what the prices are for Axies that are relatively the same are selling for, you know if it's going to be profitable or not to breed those Axies. So the next thing you need to decide is if you're going to be a risky breeder or if you're going to be a very safe breeder. So there's two options you can go with. You can go with a safe breeder and go with all of the traits that are the same as your Axie that you want. So say you want dark swoop, you make sure it has dark swoop, dark swoop. If you want eggshell, 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 you make sure it has eggshell, pigeon post, pigeon post, pigeon post, again, so on and so forth. Now this Axie does have one variant that matters and is the Peacemaker instead of the Little Owl. So again, it's basically 97 or 98% chance that is going to have a Little Owl. If the other Axie has Little Owl, for all of them, I believe it's 98.5% or something like that that is going to have Little Owl. So that is the safe way to go with Axie breeding. And then this is the more risky way. So say, for example, you want an Axie to have Hungry Bird, or you don't care if it has Zigzag or Hungry Bird. I'm not saying this is a good combo, but this is our example that we're going to use. If your other Axie has the same thing, maybe it has a dominant Hungry Bird and recessive as Zigzag, you could breed those two together. Again, you could get Zigzag, you could get Hungry Bird. Again, there's way more variety and more chances, but in this video, we're going to be talking about the more of a dominant trait as you go through and you want the exact same body parts every single time. And the Axies we're going to use for the example are actually my previous two breeded birds. These are 61 speed birds with 41 morale, and it has the classic combo Dark Swoop, Pigeon Post, Eggshell, and Post Fight. Again, these Axies are currently going on the market for about $133 or 0.042 ETH. This is 3 breeds in on this Axie. Again, 61 speed, 41 morale. And yeah, these are the birds that we're going to be using for all of our spreadsheets as I'm about to show you right now. Alright, so as we saw on the other website, the Axie birds that we're looking at cost about $132. Again, these Axies have already been bred and their genes aren't the best. So if you're selling pure gened Axies, you can get a little bit more, probably 10 to 15% more on the low end. And if you want to wait longer, you can actually sell those Axies for drastically more. So the Axies that I actually own right here, these are the ones that I bred. I bought one for a pretty expensive 0.104 ETH. The other one wasn't as bad at 0.07. Again, I was very quick to buy these Axies, so I didn't want to wait too long. One of them had just one flaw here with that fish snack. The other one had that one flaw as well at the Peacemaker. But this one cleaned through on the eyes and everything else. So that's really nice. So now I know I'm going to keep my speed at 61 so I don't have a chance to get like a plant dominant gene or anything like that. So now using these numbers, again, this chart is going to be a lot to take in at first. It's very simple though once you understand what's going on. So at the top of this Excel sheet, we have just the prices of the cryptos at the time of this recording. Again, AXS about $72, SLP is a 0.0183, so about almost 2 cents. Again, I have my parent costs here in Ethereum and the parent costs in dollars right here. So now this is the exact same chart that we already had right here. So 1,800 SLP and half in AXS is going to be about $69. So again, that goes through all the breeds here. So we've already decided that the first 3 breeds for this specific Axie that we're looking at, which is the bird, that 61 speed bird, is profitable. So if we can just breed out 3 times, we should be profitable every single time. So that is where we're going to get this. We're going to add up these 3 numbers to get our total cost. And then our sell revenue, we calculated going from the Axie pricing calculator. We took the same bird here and we got it at 0.418. That was the last one sold, and it was today, which is really nice because that means that we know they're selling. So again, that's what we're using. So we're going to go ahead and take our total costs here, which we got from the 3 breeds, and the total revenue, which we're selling it for 0.042 or about $132 a pop. And that is mean for our 3 birds, we are going to make 125 US dollars. So again, I spent a little bit more money to get that purebred Axie for the birds. That way I had no chance, or basically no chance of getting a mutant or mutation from it. So it cost me a little bit more, especially that 0.1 ETH. If I could have gotten it for 0.07, that would have been a real good steal. So that cost us $549 in Ethereum to buy these parents. So now our 3 cycles to break even and pay for our parents is just going to take 4 cycles. So that means a total of 12 Axies will need to be sold and made and created before we break even, or a little bit more. I think it's 13 actually. Yeah, so 13 Axies will get you that break even. That does not include the price of the first 2 parents breeding throughout, but we'll get into that in a moment. But I can say within 25 days, you will have drastically increased your revenue. You'll be up $875 in the green. All right. Now, this is how it all works. Again, like we said, we are going to breed our Axies 3 times. So we're starting off here with our first 2 parents, which cost us $549. They're going to have 3 babies in this color right here. Now, these first 2 Axies are going to have a good time, and they're going to make 3 more Axies right here. Bang, bang, bang. So these are their children, B1 and B2. Now, B2 and B2 are going to have their own 3 babies right here, and B3 and B3 are going to have their own 3 babies, and this has taken a total of 20 days. We're not break even yet, but the magic happens on day 25. So B4 and B4 are going to have 3 babies. B5 and B5 are going to have 3 babies. And B6 and B6 are going to have their 3 babies. Again, this process would continue to happen. Exponential growth here is insane. But the problem is, Chache, how do I know which Axie is going to be profitable? Well, that's a great question. You need to look in the marketplace. You want to find an Axie that has enough supply and demand coming from it, as well as is meta in the current meta, because if it's not meta, it's going to continuously lose value. So as soon as balance changes come out, most people that are really, really smart into the breeding whatever Axies get buffed, they buy them and they know that they're going to be meta, so they get them at a cheaper account because people aren't going to adjust their price right away. But if you stick with safer options, again, the rate of return will be a little bit slower, but you're kind of guaranteed to get it back, because 25 days, that is not long enough for a balance change, because seasons last for about 2 months, and then once the off season starts, it still takes another 2 weeks to get it out. So by then, you could be really printing out monies. Again, it only takes you about 25 days to make it all back, so it's not even that bad. And again, if you include the cost of the actual breeding of the first 2 parents, it would still fit in the 25-day ROI, because you have the extra kids laying around here. I believe the last 3 pay for it. So that's how that all works out. And it's honestly really crazy how this works. Now, the only things I wish I knew when I started breeding was actually when you have a kid, there could be mutations that aren't expected. Now, the nice thing is they typically go into the R2 category, but this is one of the Axies that we had. Their disciples, their little babies. This one is a little poop. It has a zeal into these stats, which is kind of annoying, and that does hurt the potential of, you know, rebreeding because of those mutations. But again, that's just the nature of the thing. But at a 97 to 99% chance of having an ideal Axie, it's a pretty good risk. Again, 1 out of every 100 or 2 out of every 100 is going to be a non-renewable Axie, but that's fine. Just sell it in the marketplace. If it goes in the R1, again, just sell it in the marketplace or take the risk and breed it again. Again, using that Axie calculator, you can find out a good fair price for it. Again, this isn't the entire best way to go about it. Again, you want to look at what the supply is, as well as if it's meta or not and all that good stuff. But you can take that price in and throw it into the breeding simulator here and see, run it 4, 5, 6, 7, 100 times and see what the odds are. So again, this is the odds right here on what we would have gotten with the 2 Axies here. But again, if you use some purebreds, you'll get some higher numbers for sure. And when looking for an Axie, there are a couple things that I look for. Typically this pure, I'm looking for 97% or higher. Again, that's just telling you the genes on the specific Axie. You're looking for all bird on the top 2. It doesn't matter what type of bird pieces they are, they'll still give you the same stats. The bottom 4 are what's the most important, though. That is the actual cards that you get out of this. So you want them to be almost all the same. So little owl, little owl, little owl, eggshell, 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 pigeon post, and then you have 1 alternate there and post fight. So this is actually a really good Axie. The only thing is it's already been bred 4 times. It is very cheap though at 0.48. So if you look at the breed cost, you see that the 4th breed cost will add another $168. That will get you a virgin though. So again, compare the prices, shop a little bit, and once you find that perfect Axie, buy it and then find its partner. You don't want to find a 4 breed with a 0 breed, because then you're still paying for the 4 breed price. So again, if you buy a 2nd generation bird, buy another 2nd generation bird. But in a nutshell, I hope you can see how lucrative Axie breeding is. So even with SLP tanking to the ground, it actually helps out breeders more, because the cost for breeding goes down. And the Axies are still being sold at a breakneck pace because of the update news that's coming around. So it could still definitely be a viable option. And if you're able to get your hands onto Axies before they become meta, like you're predicting the balance changes, maybe you think cactus is going to get nerfed, so you stop selling cactuses, sell all your cactus Axies now, and then go into it, you can be the first one there and make the biggest returns. So again, there's 2 ways to go about it. You can be safe or you can be risky. I tend to be safer just because that's what I want to do. But again, this is just another way you can make money playing Axie Infinity. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If it was, make sure to leave that like down below. It helps me out a ton. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Peace.